on a picnic, such as was had there yesterday, which was such an enjoyable thing. And what was carried on then? Both aspects of living, that which pertains to the body and the enjoyment of simple good things, plus the spiritual communion which followed that. And so Master says here, he says, how much better this is than the time-wasting amusements of restless, worldly people, each of who is becoming rich in peace. Each of you is becoming rich in peace and happiness. God wants his children to live simply and to be content with innocent pleasures. Because why? God is joy himself. God is bliss himself. We are his children, made in the image. How can we think he wants us to suffer? How can he think he wants us to be out of balance? No, he wants us to be perfect as he is, perfect in balance. Doesn't he work? He's created all these stars and universes and spiral nebulae and all those astronomical things without end. And yet he keeps on working because he's showing us the balance. If he didn't work, the whole place would dissolve back into him. And so as God sets the example, we must follow him as his true children. Now going on to another point, the East and the West must find balance. We have been talking about balance in human beings. Human beings make up the different countries and the different sections of our world and the different sections of all things. In the East, we find a tendency toward neglecting the body and progressive activity. If you read the history of the Eastern countries, you'll find that is so. Instead of doing that, they should spend more time in correcting sanitations and worldly conditions. There's no question about that. And we, in the West, we are quite expert in doing things and making things move. We have the know-how. And we have good conditions here. Best in the world, Master used to tell me, and he came from the eastern part. But we can put more effort in developing our spiritual side, can we not? In the East, especially in India, they are well advanced in the spiritual advancement of the soul. In here, we are well advanced in the material advancement. A balance, Master always said, is necessary between the material accomplishments of the West and the spiritual accomplishments of the East. Both are necessary. Both are necessary. He never said, give up all your advancements here. No, he said, it's wonderful. It's the best country in the world for these things. And he says, don't let anybody tell you it isn't. But he says, America, if she will just advance the spiritual side of her nature, she will become the super nation. He often said that because we are thoroughly advanced on the material side, and we are also quite advanced on the spiritual side. And America is a spiritual nation. There's no question about it. It was founded on spiritual principles, and that's why it is a good place to live. And I'm sure, not only from my own conviction, but from the words of the Master, that you can find God right here in America. You can find him here, because the wisdom of the East has been brought here by great masters, including our own Master. Jesus said what? Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added unto you, showing that the spiritual side of our nature must be advanced. Master said it in a little different way. He said, balance is necessary. He said, in the daytime, work hard, carry on, do your duties, following out the second commandment. But he says at night, go deep. Through your practices of Kriya Yoga and the meditations of self-realization fellowship, go deep in spirit, and you will find God, and you will surely be living in a balanced life. And so we must remember these things, that no nation has everything. It's good it's made that way. Different nations are adept in different things, The British are noted for their stick-to-itiveness and their law. And Germany is noted for its scientific advancement, and America, of course, is noted for its know-how. And the different nations you will find have a different aspect of God in them. And so all nations are necessary. A balance should be there in all nations between their material accomplishments and their spiritual attainment. Let us understand these things. Master has something to say about that in the autobiography as follows. East and West must establish a golden middle path of activity and spirituality combined. India has much to learn from the West. Master was so reasonable. India has much to learn from the West. And in material development, in return, India can teach the universal methods by which the West will be able to base its religious beliefs on the unshakable foundations of yogic science. And so, just as Mr. Rosser pointed out, how, through following the path of self-realization, you can know this science of yoga, and by so knowing it and practicing it, you can attain personal contact with God. Having that, your life will surely be balanced, without question of a doubt. Now, above all, learn yoga. Learn yoga, which means union. And by so doing,